Hello everyone, this is Preeti Sagar and welcome back to Career Launcher IAS. In this video, I'm going to discuss about G7 Summit 2021, which was held in United Kingdom between June 11 to June 13. So this year's meeting is very important because India had been invited into this meeting and many important discussions had been taken place. Many announcements are there we'll talk about. So first we'll start our discussion from what all its members are, when it got established, what are the agenda of G7. So if we talk about its members, so G7 members, basically this is called Group of Seven, and these are developed economies. So members are United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan. So all such seven members or the member countries, basically, they are termed as developed countries or developed economies. So by this formation, they have formed an informal group, which is called Group of Seven. And before this Group of Seven, when Russia, after collapse of Soviet Union, Russia became part of it. So till 2014, Russia was also part of this membership or in this group, and it was termed as G8. But because of Crimean issue, Russia's membership has been dropped down. So since then, since 2014, this grouping is termed as G7, that is Group of Seven, or you can say the group of all such developed economies of the world. So this is referred as Group of Seven, as I've said, which consists seven of the world's largest, well-developed and highly advanced nations. And its establishment had taken place in 1975. So it's been somewhere more than 50 years of its establishment. So this is an informal group, and members, as I've already mentioned about, that USA, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and Kingdom. So these are basically heads of which hold an annual summit with the European Union and other invitees. Okay, so this year invitees are were, you can say, that is India, South Africa, South Korea, and Australia. And apart from these other countries, they also invite European Union in this meeting or in the summit. So main purpose of G7, that was to allow the world leaders of the seven most influential and well industrialized nations to come together and promote global change. They meet on an annual basis in various countries to discuss top international issues of the day. So because of COVID-19 last year in 2020, the last meeting which has been held, that was in 2019. So the most part of this summit, what they discuss about, that is global issues like security, politics, economies, or economics, social and other pertinent issues. Together, the member countries represent 40% of the global GDP and 10% of the world's population. So this is very much, this is massive. So unlike other bodies like NATO, G7 has no legal existence, permanent secretariat, or official members. It has also no binding impact on policy, and all the decisions and commitments which G7 meetings takes place, so that need to be ratified independently by governing bodies of member states. So because it is an informal group, they do not have any headquarter, they meet on the basis of rotation. So that is why whatever decisions or whatever commitments they take place or they discuss about, that needed to be ratified independently by the governing bodies of all the member nations. So what is the agenda of G7 to be established? So G7 summit provides a forum for member countries to discuss shared values and concerns. It focused on international economic policy. During 1980s, it extended its mandate to include issues that was related to foreign policy and security. But before, when it got established, their main agenda was to discuss about the economic or macroeconomic policy. Okay. Later on, different issues they included into this summit. Recent years, G7 leaders have met to formulate common response to challenges that encompasses counterterrorism, development, education, health, human rights, as well as climate change. So this year's summit has also discussed about climate change, and some important announcements have been taking place. We'll talk about that. What is for India in this G7? So, G7 has been criticized for being outdated and ineffective in recent decades because of its inclusion of two countries that was termed as world's largest economies. These are India and China. So, India and China, basically, these are not permanent members of G7. In fact, China is being countered in this year's summit. But India had been one of the invitees. But India is not the permanent member or the full-time member of this group. So several think tanks, they have called for India's inclusion in the group, and some argue against that as well. They pointed to India's much lower GDP per capita, which is relative to other states. So, not being an official member of the group, India had been invited to this year's summit as a special invitee or special guest. And that make this year the second time our Prime Minister had been asked to participate in the discussions. India's interest in the talks that was related to global vaccine delivery as both major distributor and sorry, not distributor but major manufacturer and consumer of vaccines. So India is being largest manufacturer of vaccines as well as largest consumer. So it had been, you can say, it was India's interest in the talks of G7 that the talks will go related to COVID-19 or global vaccine delivery. So PM Modi has attended this session of G7 summit virtually from India itself, where he made a pitch for a coordinated global response against coronavirus disease, that is COVID-19, and future pandemics with the mantra of One Earth, One Health. Prime Minister also sought support for the proposal that was initiated by India and South Africa at World Trade Organization for a waiver of patent protections for COVID-19 vaccines and technologies. We know about that India and South Africa had pitched to waive off intellectual property or IPR from COVID-19 vaccinations by the manufacturing countries. So this year's summit, that was 44th summit. Okay, so what are the key highlights? So basically G7 this year 2021 had been chaired by United Kingdom. So they invited India, Australia, South Korea and South Africa as the guest countries or guest invitees. So at the session on open societies and open economies at G7 summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had virtually addressed the gathering and highlighted India's civilizational commitment to democracy, freedom of thought, and liberty. So that was India's representation, that what India promotes for. And it has been India had been made accused that there are breach of fundamental rights or violation of fundamental rights or freedom of speech and expression. So that is why Prime Minister has said these words in the meeting. So Modi or Prime Minister Modi has also highlighted the revolutionary impact of digital technologies on social inclusion and empowerment in India through applications like Aadhaar, direct benefit transfers, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity. So these are what important steps he had taken towards upliftment of the society, upliftment of the poor, and how it had been working in the pandemic time period. So G7 leaders had expressed that international cooperation is back after the upheavals that has been caused by the pandemic and unpredictability of former US President Donald Trump. So they wanted to convey that club of wealthy democracies of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom, and in fact, United States as well, that is a better friend to poorer nations than authoritarian rivals like China. So in this meeting, they have said that these countries, the member countries of G7, they are better friends for the poorer nations. They are not imposing their authoritarianism on these countries, but they are being friendly to these countries. So, United Kingdom Prime Minister has said that G7 would demonstrate the value of democracy and human rights to the rest of the world, and they will help the world's poorest countries to develop themselves in a way that is clean and green and sustainable. It has also backed a minimum tax of at least 15% on large multinational companies to stop corporations from using tax havens to avoid taxes. Basically, G7 member countries, before this summit, they have said that there should be a global minimum tax of 15% that should be imposed on the corporate or corporate houses, so that they would not um, save tax, or what say they will so that the revenue generation could be increased or could be maximized. So all such large multinational companies and corporations as well, now they have to pay 15% tax, which has been decided, or which has been talked about in this G7 summit. So leaders have also said that they will promote their values by calling on China to respect human rights and fundamental freedoms in Xinjiang, where Beijing is being accused of committing serious human rights abuses against Uyghur minority, and in the semi-autonomous city of Hong Kong. China had been hit back by saying that the days when global decisions were dictated by a small group of countries are long done. And they have hit it back at G7 summit, where Beijing was at the center of severe criticism over COVID-19 origins, human rights violations, and its mega Belt and Road initiatives. Because Belt and Road initiatives, it has been portrayed, it has been said that these are economic impositions of all the member countries. So particularly, it is significant that announcement of a global infrastructure plan to give developing countries as an alternative to doing business with China through its Belt and Road initiative. And G7 will offer financing for infrastructure from railways to wind farms to all such countries who can take their help. So, important announcements in this year's G7 summit. What are these? Basically, leaders have promised to give poorer countries 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses. So, these vaccines that will be supplied by G7 leaders, and it will be used directly and through the World Health Organization's COVAX scheme. So, G7 member countries, they will take part, or they will participate in the distribution of vaccines to all such poor countries, along with World Health Organization's COVAX scheme. Another important announcement that was about their pledge that a global green industrial revolution would be kickstarted. What is it all about? Basically, leaders have committed to nearly half their carbon emission by 2030. And they have also pledged to phase out the use of unabated coal as soon as possible. What are unabated coal? Basically, this unabated coal is a fuel that is that produces emissions, and it do not go through any sort of filtering. So unfiltered carbon emissions because of coal burning, that is unabated coal. So by 2030, they have this agenda. They have set this agenda. They have pledged towards nearly half carbon emission by 2030 they will produce, or they will minimize, rather, you can say. So group has also promised to end most government support for the fossil fuel sector. They will also be phasing out petrol and diesel cars in the coming years, and they have dedicated $2 billion in order to achieve this. Ultimately, the goal is to transition most of the world to wind, solar, and other types of energy that does not produce harmful carbon dioxide emissions. Basically, in this year's summit, they have said that now world will shift from fossil fuel or traditional fuel to renewable energy resources. Next announcement was about a date on when the world will stop burning coal was not finalized. They have said that by 2030 they will minimize carbon emission by 50%, and unabated coal production or unabated coal usage will be dropped down. But the day has not been set. So, despite the agreements, the leaders have come up with to slow down climate change. They could not. They have not said, or they have not agreed on a date by which they would stop burning coal. So, burning of coal is one of the biggest contributors of global warming, and they have promised to stop all international funding for coal projects that do not use technology to capture and store carbon dioxide emissions by 2022. Another important announcement that is about, they have discussed how to counter China's economic and security influence. Basically, China, that has been a member, that has never been a member of this G7 grouping, and despite of that, they have a large economy and world's largest population. So despite of these two facts, they have not been invited, they have not been member of this G7. So currently, G7 has created plans to offer nations billions of dollars so that they can create, or they can cease relying on Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative. That is important to remember that without China's support, important plans and goals of G7 summit, particularly those regarding to climate change, might not be able to happen. So basically, G7 has not invited China to be a member of it or to take participate in the summit. But countries need to remember that without China, the reduction in the carbon emission by so and so year is not possible. Improvement in the global temperature is not possible. So China's contribution is required in this. So that is all about this year's summit. I hope it is clear. All such important points we have discussed in the context of present situation, or in the context of present year's summit. So thank you so much. This is Preeti Saga signing off. Bye bye. Have a nice day.